Hi there guys, Ken here, your Thrifty Apprentice. In today's video, we are going to be doing a watercolor pencil painting. A day ago, or maybe a day or so ago, I was playing around in my sketchbook with my Caran d'Ache and I drew forget-me-not flowers. And I took a picture and I made a post on Facebook in the watercolor group that I'm in and I was telling you guys about in several other videos. And I remember making the comment in the description that, I painted these flowers because the year 2020 was a year of unforgetful things. This flower is the forget-me-not. I was going to officially name this flower the flower for the year 2020. And, just kind of playing off of that, I thought to myself, you know what? I want to do this bigger and actually frame it. So I thought I'd do it with you guys. I didn't think you'd mind. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be doing a watercolor pencil painting of forget-me-nots. And I just wanted you guys to see the reference photo that I'm going to be painting from, which is one of the paintings I've already done. All right, so let me set that to the side. I'm using my Caran d'Ache. I'm going to be using 4 colors here. This is the Super Color Soft pencil set. We'll be reviewing this on this upcoming Friday. That video will be coming out, I do believe. So you guys stay tuned for the review on these. It's a little past time for that review as well. So I'm going to be doing this painting with these 4 colors. And that is spruce green, umber, scarlet, and yellow. I want to make sure I used 4 colors that was different from the ones that I used in the sample painting. We're using a Canson XL 140-pound watercolor, acid-free, watercolor paper today. This is a 9 by 12 piece of paper, and I am just going to simply dive right in. I'm going to use my reference photo. We're going to get this done. I'm going to first just draw out some circles to kind of block in where I want my flowers to go, because I'm not really used to painting on really big paper yet. I'm trying to get there. So let's go ahead and get started. Here on top of the paper, guys, you'll see that I have that color chart. It's just going to list all of the colors that we're using in this composition, including the colors that they can be combined to make. I am going to be sure to list, or should I say put that color chart in a picture-in-picture for the video, and hopefully it'll be in the top left-hand corner of the screen so that you guys can refer to that as a reference if you decide to use these particular colors to paint your composition. Please keep in mind that it doesn't matter what brand of product you use or what grade it is. The point is that you have fun doing it and that you enjoy the art of painting. So definitely use whatever it is that you have. I promise you it will work. As I sketch out the composition here, you are going to see that I use my eraser to erase. I'm doing that because I have learned, as I've told you guys in videos before, that the more you refine your sketching or your drawing in the beginning of your composition, the less problems you will have as you move on throughout the composition and start actually painting. Here you're going to see that I actually grabbed that brown, and I'm also going to use a combination of green and yellow to sketch in the branch. Now the reasoning for doing this is because the umber was a little flat to me on its own, and I wanted to add some color and warmth to the branch so that it'll look more natural. So that was the reasoning for adding the addition of the green and the yellow into the umber for the branch. Now here I'm just sketching on the buds at the end of each branch, and then I'm going to take that scarlet color and start to fill in the middle of each flower petal. Now I'm doing this to make sure that I have enough pigment on the paper laid down in order to cover the entire petals on one go, because I want to try to keep the coverage as even as possible. When you're working with watercolor pencils, and yes, it can depend on the brand, how they perform when water hit them can be a hit or miss thing. Now I've become used to working with pencils, particularly these Caran d'Ache, so I am sort of used to how they work, and I was aware that I did need to go ahead and make sure to get that flat color laid down first before trying to go back in later on and add more color for definition. So what you're going to see I've done here is to add water to the middle of each of those flowers in order to get the middle laid down. Then I took that umber and went back in and dotted in the little details that you would see in the middle of a forget-me-not flower. Now we are facing these flowers dead on, so they wouldn't have too much of a 3D effect to the middle, but I did want you to be able to tell that there was some division in it. Next, I'm just taking that water brush that I have and I'm actually spreading the pigment out throughout the petals of each one of those flowers. Now guys, keep in mind that you don't have to scrub your paper. I'm using a water brush which will work really well, but when it comes to using watercolor pencils, you may want to kind of use a more stiff synthetic brush to push those pigments around. I would recommend like a golden Taclon brush, you know, the ones that sort of have the blondish looking hairs on them. And I always suggest that you use synthetic with an acrylic handle if possible. I've just never been one that was into killing animals for the point of painting. So, yeah, we're just working on dispersing that pigment, and I'm being sure to avoid the areas that I drew in for my highlights. Although I will be going back in at the very end of this video with a white gel pen in order to make sure that those higher bright highlights stand out the way that they should. I do want to try to be careful as I spread the pigment out and not cover that area up, just so there won't be any color mixed into that gel pen when I lay it down. Now, I realized at some point that I really did not have enough pigment laid down in the petals to get them done the way that I want. So you will see me periodically pick that scarlet pencil back up and start to actually scribe or put more color into each petal just to make sure that I had enough to do it on one go. Which brings me, speaking of one go, guys, I have a birthday coming up. May 6th is my birthday and I am so excited. It's also starting, May also starts the second quarter for the Thrifty Apprentice Studio channel. So we will be having a second quarter art haul video coming up at the beginning of May for you guys to view and watch. Now, I'll be honest, I had been a bit hesitant about doing a art haul video at this particular time because I have been encouraging people to use what they have, try to be as frugal as possible, and to just stretch their money at this particular time when we're so unsure of what's going to happen. However, I was blessed enough to get a little money for my birthday, and I decided that I was going to take it and spend it on things that I could share with you guys. So we will have an art haul video coming up in a couple of weeks, and I am really excited about that, so you guys be sure to stay tuned. Here you see that I am just using my water brush to disperse the pigment in that branch, and you will see as those colors mix together, it gives me a more lively greenish brown color for the branches versus just being a flat brown or a flat umber. And I thought it just added a lot more personality to the composition. Guys, you know, it's funny. I'm currently working from home, so I find myself doing a lot of different tasks throughout the course of the day. Ironically enough, as I do this voiceover, I'm also chatting with a customer. You have to multitask. I mean, with us being at home, and this being at home has left so much time to concentrate on painting. I can't resist. When I get the opportunity, I just go for it. And I encourage you guys to do the exact same thing. You will be surprised at how much joy it can bring. So I took a mixture of black because I did not have the colors I needed to make a darker shading color for my flowers. So what you saw me do on that scrap paper that I have to the side, which is a great way to use your brush to paint with watercolor pencils, just scribble the pigment out on a piece of watercolor paper, and that's just a cheap piece of paper I have over there. And then you can use a wet brush to lift that pigment and bring it over to your composition. So I took the black watercolor pencil, or should I say the black super color soft pencil, and laid it down. Then I mixed it with the scarlet in order to create that darker color that you see coming out the middle of each of the forget-me-nots. I wanted it to be darker in value, but I did not want the composition to be flat, which is why I made sure to mix as much of that scarlet pigment into the black when I created that shadow color. After that, you saw me just go in and once again redefine the branch, adding both all three colors, the umber, the green, and the yellow. And you saw me actually using the tip of the brush and painting directly from the lid onto the paper. This is a great way to get pigment and to save pigment at the same time. You can get a lot of pigment up off of the lid, but then you're also not wasting pigment by not using it being scribbled out on a piece of paper. So here I'm just going to grab that scarlet color, and I am going to lay down a bunch of pigment on my little makeshift palette, and I'm using that to go back in over each single petal of each forget-me-not. Now what this is doing is deepening up the color of the original layer, as well as laying a slight wash on top of the darker mix that I put towards the center of the flowers. Now the reasoning behind this was to add a little bit more red depth to that shadow color, just so it looks a little bit more natural and doesn't, take the painting in a flat direction, which I would completely hate. So I'm just going to take my time and go ahead and make sure that I finish getting all of these petals covered with the second layer. And then you're going to see me move on to do different things like making sure that the water is dispersed on the pigment that's holding each of the buds to the branch. You're going to see me go back and actually add in a bit of brown color to each one of those buds, just to give them a little more life and make them stand out. I was really having fun with this composition, and all I could think about as I painted it was, oh my God, the year 2020 is going to be etched in each one of our minds for the rest of our lives, written in history books and thought about well beyond this year. So anyway, here I am just taking all of those colors, the yellow, the green, and the scarlet, and I am just going to splatter paint on in order to create a background. Now, if you pay attention, you'll notice that my splatters are actually controlled here. Now I'm taking that white jelly roll pen that I told you guys about earlier, and I am using it to go ahead and put in my brighter highlights. Once I do that, I'm going to sign it because that's a wrap. Hopefully you guys like what you saw, and if you did, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Please go ahead and subscribe to make sure that you keep up with the things that are going on the channel. I would hate for you guys to miss something great. Use the comments section, communicate with me, let me know whether or not you're going to do this composition and if you like it. And as I tell you always, remember, just keep painting.